Hey guys, what's up, and welcome back to the channel. We got some more Birthright coverage for you today. We're going to take a look at the Imperial City of Anuire, which is not a domain that is available for PCs, but is a great one. Excuse me, great one for players to adventure in and around, and just absolutely fertile ground here. We don't get the longest description of it, but there's enough hooks here to where a creative DM can certainly add some really interesting adventures for characters of various classes. Since this is the seat of the former empire, there's just so many relevant tangents here, and obviously where a lot of the major power players are trying to gain influence. So overall, city is considered lawful neutral. Again, not available for PCs. This is a level 10, basically city state. It is within the territory of Avenil, but it's separate from that. And there's basically 4 different people here controlling the law in there, and all 10 levels are occupied. So we have Khalid Dossier, the Chamberlain. We'll talk about him in a minute. But then Darian Avan and Eric Boroween control some influence there, though Avan has a little bit more. And then HD. Forgot who HD was. Let's double check here. Oh, Hyrule Dime, yeah, from Diamond, yeah, that makes sense. Yep. On the religious side, we got multiple temples vying for control there. Although the Western Imperial Temple has the most levels there, but there's a couple that are still free. The guild side, there's 3 guilds that are essentially getting regency out of it. We'll see that in the description in a moment. But there's other players there, but there's a lot of underground wars happening there between the guilds, and then the sources. There's leylands that used to and still do flow in to the city, but itself it doesn't necessarily generate any magic. But there is a level 0 source here from the College of Sorcery. So again, so many fertile things going on here for DMs to consider. So and great for players to either start their adventures here or be required to go here for various things. If they were looking for something, the chances are they could find either the thing itself or knowledge or connections here in the city. So the regent, technically no regent since there are no more emperors, but and there's no one sitting on the Iron Throne, but that is occupied by the Chamberlain, Khalid Dossier, I think that's roughly how it was pronounced. It was a pretty impressive figure too. So he's a level 12 fighter, level 16 wizard, which is pretty damn beefy for a human, and a very impressive bloodline there, 64, and is lawful good himself. And he carries the Emperor's signet ring bearing the Imperial seal and ensures that no one takes the throne. And he doesn't have any official named lieutenants here, but basically, he can dispatch any number of people to accomplish any number of tasks, which, could be your player characters. And again, something for you as the DM to consider here. So he could be a great source of initial quests and things for players to accomplish. And really, if anybody has power in the city, he does. So he could certainly see to it that you're properly rewarded and working for the better of the realm. So the city here itself, right, remains its own self-contained province, separate from Avenil, but it is occupied or territory-wise on the coast. So Darian Avan, Eric Boroween, and Dossier and Harald Dime all control the law here. The Chamberlain holds the most and basically tries to keep the others from gaining any kind of advantage and kind of roughly keeps them equal with each other. The 10 major guilds of the old empire each own a bit of the city's trade, although only the 3 up above gain regency from it. But again, it's a great way to, if you have thief characters or other things that are bringing you here, that's a great way to sort of get in on that level of intrigue there, and any number of issues that and opportunities there that are happening because of the guild activity in and around the heartlands and the southern coast and so on and so forth there. So lots of connections that can be drawn there. And those other 7 can really be fleshed out, and maybe maybe you either work to eliminate some of those or you work to bring some of those back into power. So there's, again, so many different ways that can be approached. The Western Imperial Temple of Halen dominates the city's religious life, but again, there's other gods represented there. So overall, a very diverse religious setup there. So, and even though the Western Imperial Temple is a little bit more militant, the Chamberlain's, again, not going to likely tolerate any kind of religious craziness there. And then the Royal College of Sorcery is really one of the most fertile areas for adventuring, especially if you have a younger wizard who's in training. That can really provide interesting adventure opportunities there. Whether you're learning at the actual College of Sorcery, or you know, temporarily learning there, getting an opportunity to learn there, but also exploring in and around there, or being sent to um, sent on any quests or anything like that, or adventures from those who are running the college. So, the Royal College, the ruling council there controls the magic in the city. Ley lines used to flow from all over the continent into Anuire, but most have essentially fallen into disrepair. The 10 wizards on the council, and they're not named here, but again, you could certainly come up with several powerful wizards there. Basically, control a single ley line each, and allow blooded students to learn from these lines. And so, if you do happen to have a blooded wizard character here, that could be a great sort of reward for perhaps accomplishing various tasks and things like that, allowing you to work some more impressive magic and increase your knowledge that way. So, as a separate entity, the city is governed by laws that don't apply to the rest of Avenel. It's at the mouth of the River Mazel. Again, we've seen so many other domains that brush up or border the Mazel, which again is very important for trade throughout the former empire. So, but there's basically, again, anything and everything that players might need or could not be located elsewhere in the Anuire should be found here, right? So various museums, universities, etc. This is the hub of the former empire. So really, again, there should just be so many things here to occupy the player's attention and lead them to other kinds of discoveries and things like that. So, as it says here, visitors still come all the way, or even as far away as Vosgard, of all places, to study at the universities, learn intrigue at the imperial court. And though an emperor no longer sits on the throne, courtiers still gather here to ply their treachery and bargain for the fate of realms. So again, it's the sort of the hub of all things, right? Intrigue, guild, interesting guild activity. The College of Sorcery, right? So if you're going to learn more advanced magic, this would be a great place to go. There's just so much going on here. And again, sort of a multicultural melting pot. So even though there is no more empire, people still come from literally all over the continent. And again, it should be a great place for hooks, rumors, other things to get players going and adventuring and role playing. So much of the city is locked into dozens of smaller islands, so it's almost a little bit like Venice in that sense. Different areas of the city, and you could flesh that out more with like various canals and stuff too. Each of which comprises a different neighborhood. It might be worth comparing, although don't hate in the comments here. Maybe compare it somewhat to like Raven's Bluff or something like that in the realms. That kind of seems to come to mind sometimes, but again, play up the fact that this is a former capital of an empire. But anyway, the islands are connected with bridges and ferries, depending on the tide and basically the weather here, and obviously storms and stuff. So that takes kind of a beating from the weather there. But all kinds of seawalls and stuff protect a lot of that damage. But again, a lot of times the inhabitants are forced indoors because of the weather, so that could be a factor there too. Speaking of the Royal College of Sorcery, so the largest group of wizards in all of Anuire. So counter to what some imagine, the Royal College, this is like a typo or something, is no vast tower, its surroundings. So yeah, it's not like, I guess, the stereotypical like just giant wizard's tower or something like that. Its power dwindled with the fall of the empire, and now it occupies a former barracks on the grounds of the old college. The original tower lies in rubble on the coastline, destroyed by the internal feuds that broke out when the last last emperor. The mages chose the location of the new college to remind students of the price of pride. The view of the still smoking old tower, and again, that was a long time ago, so that should certainly give characters pause there. And really the dangers of what happened there should really be played up. But anyway, the smoking old tower demonstrates the folly of the old wizards. So, but ambitious and adventurous players might want to go explore that, right? Great place to be sent to maybe recover something. So despite the sinister smoke, some fools still explore the ruins, seeking the lost magical secrets of the ancients to increase their own power. So again, even though this is somewhat of a low magic setting, this would be a great opportunity to get like some higher end items or special things, with, of course, the appropriate risk and reward here in whatever adventures you can send the players on. So some explorers have actually returned with treasures which only encourage others, and that could be a nice way to spread rumors and kind of get the players interested. Even showing off some of those said items. Folks say that 10 levels lie beneath the smoldering ruins. Well, hey, great. There's a great dungeon for you to possibly come up with, and maybe it's more than 10. So, though it might hold many riches, treasure seekers should pay attention to the stories of looters who simply vaporize somewhere in the ruins. So, again, fertile ground here for a DM to come up with sort of a mega dungeon with all kinds of tricks and traps and other stuff right in the city here. And one that, the average citizen might not suspect is still present there. So, really good stuff. So, like I said, it's not something for players to run. This is not a domain to run. But if you were playing Birthright in the sense of running domains, this should be a very formidable, not necessarily opponent, but formidable domain that you would have to interact with on a political level. And, if you wanted to gain influence, certainly being in the good graces of the Imperial City would be a great way to gain power, prestige, and influence. Attacking it certainly wouldn't be a realistic option. A, because it's surrounded by Avenil, which, even though he wants the throne, is probably not going to tolerate someone marching on the city. If at all, he can help that. But again, this is one where if you were running a campaign and you have gained enough influence, again, getting on the good graces of the Chamberlain is a way to play up your chances there. Maybe being viewed as a viable contender for the throne. Although, again, the Chamberlain would probably be testing you all the time, so would probably try to play you off against Avenil, Bororine, and Diomed or others. So again, just being a warmonger, I think, is not going to be a recipe for success here if you wanted to try and somehow take the city there. And again, even though it's just a city-state unto itself, right, you have as a DM, it should be something like where you have practically unlimited resources to sort of defend the city. So there's no way that the city should fall in any way, shape, or form. You have the council of wizards still. So I mean, really, they should be protected in many different ways. So, but anyway, lots of fertile grounds here. Let us know in the comments, guys, if what kind of adventures you've had in your campaigns in and around the city. Have you gone so far as to really build up this potential dungeon, or not? I shouldn't say dungeon, but sort of ruins beneath the old college. How has that gone for you? What kind of things have you done there? How have your players responded to it? And if you've had your players interact with it in the campaign mode of the game as well. So hit us up in the comments there, guys. Be interested to hear about your stories there, as always. So hope you guys enjoyed hanging out a little bit and learning about the Imperial City. Some of this has also been fleshed out a little bit more in some of the supplements. So, for example, Dossier is rumored to be related to, or is actually, in fact, rumored to be the original Chamberlain, or at least like several hundred years old, and just kind of finds ways to sort of keep himself alive too. So there's extra things out there in some of the supplements, which we'll get to eventually. But yeah, hit us up in the comments, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We'll have more Birthright coming for you soon, and take care.